Welcome to Q-ZAR.
Next thing you're going to start learning to do is, I personally hate this, but it's something that everybody should learn. So it's called a cup, all right? I consider it a beginning move, but it is a very important aspect of Q-ZAR that everybody should learn. Now what you do is, just like anything else, you have your thumb on the back of that point where your head strap is, all right? Your hand, depending on how big your hand is, some people have small hands, so a full hand is needed to cup somebody. Some people like me who have big hands only need 2 fingers. I only use 2 fingers. Now what you want to do is you want to hold the phaser underneath if you're using 2 fingers, thumb like that. 2 fingers go on the side like this, angled like that. Okay, what you're trying to do is you're trying to get the laser to bounce off of your hand to shoot straight out to the side. Right? Now what you're trying to do is you're actually trying to get to the side of the cover, like this, and shoot. Now remember, just like anything else, a cup does not need to be on the person's chest. Okay? A cup is way more effective when it's about 2 feet out from somebody. So if their pack was right here, I want to be 2 feet out, this far away from them when I cup. Okay? If that's the side of the pack, that far away. Going like this isn't going to make it easier. It's just going to make sure that the light spreads less. Somebody with a cob cover, which is I don't even want to go into right now, it may make it harder to tag them. So that's how far. You want to make sure you're low to the ground and you cup them. Okay? This is the best way to shoot one like a G cover. It's very efficient. Only reason why I don't like a cup makes you very vulnerable, because a cup you have to engage in close combat with. It's not something you can engage with regular combat. It's basically a desperation move. It's somebody has active, somebody has 4 tinks. I need to tag somebody as fast as possible. This is basically a suicide move. You're basically saying, I'm going to end the combat right now. And if I don't hit you, I'm going to be tagged, because there's no way to block typically after a cup. All right? So remember that. It's a desperation move. This is not a move you want to use in your arsenal when you get really advanced in a Q-ZAR game. It is a suicide move. So it's a move I only use when I know somebody has 4 tinks and I really need to tag them and I have to engage in close combat. All right? But I don't like trading with people. Trading with people is inefficient. There's no score change. There's no benefit to my team. But if I have to shoot someone on active, then yeah, it becomes necessary. Now, the other thing you're going to start learning about is bouncing. Bouncing becomes super effective. Most of the European players haven't really found out what bouncing truly is all about. In America, we've always had very bouncy arenas. Floor bounces have always been very effective. Now, depending on the arena you play in, sometimes floors are bouncy, walls are bouncy, certain things are bouncy. You always want to pay attention to your environment. Start looking around, things that are glossy. Okay? Also, start thinking about, using your own teammates to bounce as well. All right. Now, you saw on the 2s how I showed you how a bong is very efficient, but a bong and a bounce is the most efficient thing you can do. Using your teammate to shoot somebody while bouncing them is very, very key. All right. Bouncing off the floors. Now that is something I do when I'm playing wall-on-wall battles. I don't tend to like to bounce in the open, mainly because it's less effective in the open, because the angle you have to get your gun isn't quite. Now, when you do bounce somebody off the floor, what you're doing is you're aiming 2 feet or 3 feet in front of their right back leg. If they're left-handed, then you're shooting in 3 feet in front of their back left leg. So if I'm in my cover like this, I am aiming 3 feet in front of their back leg. All right? And what you're aiming for is a straight down shot. All right? Don't need to be close to the ground. It can be just as hot. It can be just as effective as firing from up here, from top here. Now, what you're typically looking for on a floor bounce is somebody who is pointing their gun like this to the ground. If you can see the lights like that pointing to the ground, that's when you want to shoot the ground. If they're in an Atlanta cover like this, or if they're in a G cover like this, bouncing off the floor isn't as effective. But these are way easier to bounce off of walls. So look for more wall bounces. Look for things that are going to bounce off the wall. And learn to move that opponent around to where you can bounce them off of objects. And also, because you become more aware now about bouncing, you've also now become more aware that you're also being shot because of bouncing. Start learning about like what you're being bounced off. Learn things in your arena that you can bounce off of and things you cannot bounce off of. Tend to play around the things you can't bounce off of, and tend to put people in places you can bounce them. Bouncing somebody is very, very important in any aspect of any Q-ZAR game, whether it's ones, twos, or teams, because you make it the easiest way to tag them is to bounce somebody, because you can be super far away from somebody and bounce them. All right? So always have the mentality, start thinking about those things when you're playing Q-ZAR. Am I putting myself in a situation where I can be easily bounced? All right? Now, like I said, with the cup, same thing. Make sure that you're using this only for desperation. All right? But really, really start focusing on your game. Now, next thing I'm going over is more advanced things and strategy.